I've been looking into the Helm interface to do various things in Emacs, and today I want to look at how to use Helm to interact with some old-fashioned command line utilities. So fairly often I have to find some kind of process on my computer, and you might do something like this, and you get a long list of these different processes. Let's say I want to find a particular one related to Emacs. I might pipe that into grep and get that. And here I could see one of these PIDs, and then I could do something with that PID or something like that. What I want to do instead is figure out how to get this into Helm, and I'll show you what that looks like and why it's kind of interesting. So it's easy enough to get the output of that into Emacs. We just run a shell command to string, and here I use a modified version just to get the user ID, the PID, and the command. And we get this as a string and then split it on carriage return. And here I just collect the first few so you can see what this looks like. So what I want is each one of these strings here as a candidate in Helm, and then I want to define some actions to do on those candidates. So let's take a look at what we do here. So in Helm, the idea is you first create a list of candidates. And our candidates are going to be a list of con cells, and each cell is going to have the line, and that's what we'll use to search for, and then the footer of that cell will be the PID. And when you select a line, it will pass the PID to whatever action function we have. So here we just loop through every line in the output of the PS command, and we're going to collect con cells of the line and the second element of that line, which is going to be the PID. And that's going to give us the list of candidates. Now we'll write up a couple of little functions here that take a PID, and these functions won't actually do anything, but they'll be actions that we can use. So here we'll just have a message box that is the details of the PID. This is a example of a function that might send a signal to a PID, and you can see in this line we actually prompt for the signal to send. But instead of sending it, we just put out a message box. And then I make some dummy ones here just to show some features of Helm. Now, to create the input for Helm, we create a variable here. It seems that they have a convention of helm-source-something. And so this is a list of consoles that have a name. This is the candidate, so this is going to call our ps-candidates function. And then here is the list of actions that you can have, and each one of these functions takes the footer of the entry that is selected, which in our case will be the PID. And finally, this is how we call Helm to look at it. So we'll just run this, and what comes up down here is a list of all of our system processes. I can filter this if I start typing my username, and then I can take a space here, and I can pretty quickly get to Emacs here. So there are two Emacs options, things that are open here. If I pick one and press enter, then I get a message box that tells me what the details of that were. All right, let's resume our Helm session. I think it's Control-C, HR. And now if I type Control-Z, I get a list of actions. So if I press up or down to select kill, down here it will say kill with signal. Let's press set 9, and that's going to tell me up here that we're killing PID 8977 with signal 9. We didn't actually kill it, but we could have if we ran that as a shell command. All right, so that's what the Helm interface really is good for. It allows you to very conveniently filter out the actions. Let's run it again. Let's say I filter again to Emacs, and now I don't want to type Control-Z to get the second action. There's a shortcut, Control-E, and let's do signal 2 this time, and we can get there easily. So Helm provides some already bound keys for the second action and the third action, so that is Control-E and Control-J. There is a command for the fourth action, but it's not bound to a key, so you have to put it in here like this. So here we just add Control K, and now if we run this again, I can just type Control K directly, and we get the silly fourth action for 1, which is what we defined up here as the fourth action. And finally, you can kind of define arbitrary nth ones, but you have to do it in a strange way. So here we define, say, the fifth action, and you have to wrap the helm select nth action in a little function. And so here we can do this, and now that's going to be bound to Control L. And so that runs our silly fifth action for PID number 1. So that's really only helpful if you remember, how many actions there are and which ones they are. But if you did, and it was something you did often, you could take some shortcuts there. So that concludes the proof of concept in using Helm as an interface to a Unix command that has lots of output. For example, in PS, where you might want to do various things in there. That's all.